Down in Atlanta where rhythm drums strong, riders unite after a whole year gone. Heritage and history blended so sweet, a family reunion beat by beat.
Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Y'all look so gorgeous.
Thank you.
Okay,
So do you.
all right, we got some brown sugar, we got some chocolate, and we got a little bit more cinnamon over here. Y'all look gorgeous. And so how are y'all feeling today? How do you feel about being here present today in this day and age with your projects out? Like, here you are today, living and breathing, and you walking in your purpose. Take me to how y'all feeling right now.
I am feeling absolutely amazing. I want to give you a shout out about how I'm feeling. My very first in-person author event was here with you on Black Writers Weekend 2023.
Oh,
And so
okay.
I'm excited to be here.
Okay, so were you on the stage then?
I was not. I was one of your vending authors, but that's okay. I got to meet, network with so many people. And again, I feel like that was when I really stepped out into my comfort as being a published author.
Well, that's full circle from the vendor market to the main stage.
That's right.
I like that. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for sharing your beauty and your knowledge with us and your story.
Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Emanie, how you feeling?
Yes, I'm feeling really, really good. Thank you for the work that you're doing, amplifying our voices and creating a platform for us. So it just feels very ancestral up in here today. It really, really does.
Ancestral. And Miss Tamala, how you feeling, my darling?
I'm feeling on top of the world.
Okay.
I'm new to Atlanta, and Tamika was one of the, I guess, innovators that I first became aware of here. So I'm just so honored and just grateful to be here. So I'm really excited.
Ain't about me now. We talking about y'all.
But it's the truth. Thank you so much.
I appreciate that. I really, really do. A lot of this is almost like a full circle moment as well too, because Black Writers Weekend has evolved over the years. It used to be Creative Con on Fridays, where we would completely focus on the creative aspect, almost like a pop-up university. We want to give out knowledge. And so the festival has evolved over time, and so I wanted to dive more into the experience of the creatives. Emotionally, creatively, like spiritually, how are you managing? How are you doing it all? So I wasn't planning on doing the moderating, y'all, so y'all bear with me as I dive into these questions, because normally I like to do like a little preparation, but we're going to make it work. I'm going to freestyle a little bit, and we're just going to have a conversation. So, and anyone can take on this question, and so and when one person answers, when we go into the next question, just kind of like, piggyback off each other. Absolutely. So what does liberation look like for you in your creative work? Because we're talking about love, lust, and liberation. And I like a little lust. I've even written some nasty books.
Yes.
That grown folk fiction. So if you are, a little young or inexperienced, cover your ears, because we don't want to scare none of y'all. But if you are open to learning and exploring, then open them up. So, but take me into your writing. We'll start with you, Cher. So take us into the liberation of your writing, like the type of stories that you create.
Oh, yeah.
The scenes that you dive into. I know, like, when I wrote Plain Jane, which is my nasty series, I had Beyonce's Fearless, not Fearless, but Speechless on repeat.
Oh, yeah.
I needed to feel something. I ain't gonna tell y'all what that was. So take me into your stories. Like
Absolutely. So I'm Cher Taris, everyone. I write stories about perfectly imperfect Black women and the men who are bold enough to chase them around the world. And so
I got one of them.
Okay. So when we talk about liberation, let me first start by saying I'm a world traveler. I'm a program manager, I'm an Army veteran, and all those experiences have led to my own liberation and being able to travel around the world, 25 plus countries and growing, by the way.
Nice.
And 4 books out right now, and each one of them are set in one of these exotic, stunning locations: Bali, Kenya, Tulum, Mexico, and the newest one, Paris. And with that, I wanted to explore Black love on the international stage.
I love it.
And
so you selling on yourself. Look like y'all, she was doing a little something, something. She wasn't just writing
Look,
in other countries. You was doing something.
If we got any veterans in the room, what goes on deployment? You know, honestly, it's about culture, though. I mean, the Army did liberate me in such a way. You think about Army and liberation, they don't necessarily go together, but guess what? That's the first time I saw my first castle. That's the first time. I've never been that young girl that dreamed about, you know, being saved by Prince Charming. Absolutely not. But going into the Army allowed me to see that first castle for the first time, and that gave me an explosion of information that I wanted to again explore. We don't hear about little black princesses. You know, we got our first black princess with Tiana and Princess and the Frog, right?
Right.
And so I wanted to tell about that, but from a grown woman's perspective. We are everywhere. Black love should be celebrated internationally, and that's my liberation story.
Emanie, take us into your liberation story.
My liberation story is very spiritual. So I think it's, for me, liberation has been recognizing that when we talk about mind, body, and soul, sexuality is a part of that. Sensuality is a part of that. You know, I'm very much one of those. I talk about chakras and things of that nature. So desire and creativity come from the same place. And for me, it's been learning about myself, learning about my identity, and standing in that. So a lot of my work, I'm an erotic poet. I also write erotic audio fiction. And I tell stories from heterosexual love to queer love, and I include non-binary people. And it's recognizing that sensuality and liberation is knowing yourself. Yeah. So that's been what my journey's been like.
I love that. And so, Tam, I'm going to jump into you. When it comes to creating these type of moments with your characters, and you have been able to transition your words into the big screen. So how are you able to ensure that the emotions that you want your characters to project, not just in the pages, but now on the screen? I know that's a whole other different type of ball game, because you're dealing with directors, you're dealing with actors, and there's also like, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but it's always somebody that sometimes on set that helps you get comfortable with those type of scenes. Yes. It's a title for something. Thank you. Intimacy coordinator. Okay, come through, filmmaker. How do you ensure, so you're the root of it. You're establishing the emotion that they need to share. So how are you getting yourself there to ensure that they understand where they need to go with these emotions?
So, as a writer, I always try to direct when I can, just for that reason, so that when I do get on set, the actors are able to convey and articulate what I want emotionally. And usually that starts the conversation even before we get into, I guess, rehearsals. I remember talking with Jennifer Freeman in my movie before we even started shooting, and told her the background of why I wrote this movie. And a lot of my stories are about reimagining relationships that didn't work out, but getting the happily ever after that I wanted. And so I want to show beautiful, idealistic Black love. And whenever I talk to an actor, they're always like, yes, I resonate with that, because we all want cheesy, happily ever after love. And so just having those conversations with people and actors before we get into set, they understand what I'm looking for. And a lot of times with the men, though, they can sometimes have a little bit of resistance to that, but I think as you get more experienced actors, they're able to just really understand that I want you to be what I'm asking for, for a lighthearted rom-com that features Black stories, Black love.
And so let's go into you ladies' individual real life experiences, because I know personally a lot of my stories have been rooted in my own experience. I always say that life for me is research. So there's almost nothing that I would not try other than killing and robbing folks and, just, crazy stuff. I ain't doing none of that. But I'm open to just exploring almost anything. And so then I apply some of those experiences to my characters in these stories. So have there been scenes or moments in these stories where you didn't experience it, but now you get to experience it through your characters? Can you take me into that journey?
Oh, absolutely. So my latest book, Steel Horses, Leather Roads, is a black cowboy. It's a black cowboy culture romance set in very small Lilly, Georgia, a real place south
That's a real
of
place?
here. It's a
I'm
real
from
place.
Lilly, Georgia.
Lilly,
Okay.
Georgia. And you talked about my own personal experiences. It is a story where I took the question, what if that first relationship I had, that high school love affair, what if it became more? Or what if it came back around for a second time? And so I took little pieces of what really happened 30 years ago, by the way, and turned that into a full-fledged story. It's totally fiction, but I did feel like I needed to get permission from the other person before I put his business out there. But yeah, it's a total fiction story. However, it is totally derived off of a 2-month relationship that I had with somebody 30 years ago.
Wow. I know he felt special. Like, oh, you remember me?
Like, what?
I ain't getting nobody that much credit.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know, who are you? When? Oh, okay. If you say so,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm pretending I don't know you.
Sorry to that man.
Right.
I think for me it's been fun. So the process for my audio stories is I write the scripts and then I cast the actors and I do the editing. For me, I put my most intention in the love interest. So it's kind of like I'm wooing myself, like, dang, in this situation, I really wish I had someone who asked me for consent. I really wish I had someone who, was a bit more emotionally complex. So every time I write a love interest, I try to beat the last fantasy that I have. So it's kind of like, how can I woo myself?
Yeah.
And I think it kind of puts me in the seat now that, I'm in a space where I am open to love. I'm like, okay, well, you ain't hear my characters. If you can't talk to me how I talk to myself. Yeah.
So basically, you setting the tone of how you want to be treated. I like that, woo myself. Okay, dating yourself and loving on yourself. I like that. Okay, my darling, let's go into you.
Every single story I have written as an adult and professionally has been about an ex-boyfriend. And I unfortunately,
Lord. So now the new ones, they're gonna be scared. Or they gonna be like, oh, let's date because I want to be in the story. You can't be giving out your secrets now.
well, I don't tell people past these kind of forums, but
Okay.
yeah, for me, writing is how I process things. And so I write about what I know. I transmute it into something beautiful and lucrative. So yeah.
I know that's right. Get your money. No, that's right. I love that. Girl, you made me miss my train of thought. What was I about to say? Oh, yeah. Okay, so I wanted to know this, right? Because some of the stories that I personally create, I like for them to be complex. Yes, you want a really good romance sometimes and have a happily ever after and things like that, but I like to have realism with my characters. So how do you stay rooted? And so, because I asked this, right, because we've seen these stories of actors and, you've been in this space. I'm not sure, ladies, are y'all in the film space as well?
Want to be?
Okay, well, speak it. Yes. No project is launched yet, but it's coming.
It's coming.
So when it comes to actors, sometimes they're not acting. If you're a really good actor, you're not acting when it comes to portraying a character. Now you are the character. And I've seen a lot of actors after the fact have these interviews where they have to go to therapy or they have to now get away. They have to just shut down from the world because now they have to reconnect with themselves because they have literally become someone else. They have to feel these emotions. They have to do things they wouldn't normally do. What's crazy is we as writers have to do that as well. We are becoming somebody totally different. We have to feel every emotion, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. So how are you staying rooted in your real day-to-day, in real life, and your family's not catching them strays? Because, I had to learn trial and error. My daughter's sitting right here in the front row. She probably won't tell some of my secrets right now. But I got better, right? Okay. So tell us how y'all did it.
I actually had an ex once that told me, yeah, you've been writing today, haven't you?
Ooh.
And apparently, after I write for a little while, I start using different words. Might get a little ghetto, might get a little classy. Depends on what I'm writing about. And I didn't realize I was doing that until it was pointed out to me.
Yeah.
But rooting my characters in reality, you have to do that. You have to explore the psychology of your characters, even if it's just a romance. You know,
Yeah.
we all know that for it to be a romance, it has to end in a happily ever after. So you know what you're going to get at the end, but how these characters actually get there, the author really has to research that, get into the mental space of not just the main characters either, but how might those secondary, those tertiary characters,
Yeah.
how might they poke the bear?
Yeah.
To make that character do what that character needs to do to progress the story.
Yeah.
And so it takes quite a bit of research into mental spaces, if you will. So,
It
yeah.
does. It is fun, y'all. You know, at the end of the day, we crazy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
We is cuckoo.
For me, because it's an anthology series, when I recognize that my characters start sounding the same, I'm like, oh, I need to go talk to the lady.
Yeah.
There's some things I process.
Yeah.
So it's, for me, it's like, that's a gut check. Like, if I am intentionally, I love creating stories where sometimes I don't want to know what you're doing in 15 years. I just want to write the moment.
Yeah.
And then I want to write another series, a story in the same universe.
Yeah.
So once all of my characters, if I hear that they're having similar experiences, that's a gut check for me to go outside and talk to people.
Yeah.
Because now I'm over-influencing my work. And I think that there's a fine balance between being inspired by your life and being inspired by life. And that means that I have entered that part of my echo chamber where it's me, 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 and me. And if you knew what my big three was, we don't need to be having that many conversations with each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's that gut check. If everyone is starting to complain about the same love things, I'm like, all right, Emanie, go to the supermarket and say hello to somebody.
Yeah, I just learned this new thing, clock it, because that's what you just did. Yeah, clock it. Because she showed, like, I don't know if y'all was listening, two different approaches that they just described. And I've had those moments where you can clearly see, wait a minute, this person sound like this, and it's like, your character is supposed to be different. And that's almost, and it could be something that you just, there's an oversight, you didn't mean it, but it also can get a little bit, that's lazy writing, in my opinion, when you're not really connected to your characters enough. So you need to push back. Do not try to push forward and keep writing, keep creating. As she said, she went outside. Push back and go outside and reconnect and talk to regular people and go about life. Do not push forward, kind of like force feed yourself and try to make it work. Just push back. And the thing about it is, if you're not under a deadline and you're independently writing or not, whatever the case may be, we can control this. Like, we can, nobody's technically putting a gun toward our head and saying, keep writing. You ain't got to do that. So just pause, push back if you ever feel like you kind of stuck or you feel like, this ain't good. You got to keep rewriting chapters and things. Like, it's okay. You're making the rules. That is a beautiful thing about being an artist. Like, it doesn't have to make sense only to you. All right, my darling.
So for me, as we all know with any kind of story, no matter the format, conflict does drive, the scene.
Yeah.
But for me, there are certain things that I won't explore as a writer. I'm just not there yet. I feel like with film, I think film can reflect life, but it can also shape it. So I'm very mindful of the stories that I want to produce and put out in the world. So there's certain things that I just don't want to write about.
Right.
And so when it comes to, I guess, the conflict that my characters have, I'm very mindful of, we're not going to go there. I'll take it here. And of course, when I'm crying with my own work, that means shit's popping, So
Yeah, that's good, right? Oof, I love that. Now, before I dive into our last couple questions, I do want to see if the audience have any questions that they would like to explore with the ladies. It could be about their own journey or your very own. This is a sharing experience, so ask some questions, get some answers. And we have a mic here so that we can properly hear you guys. So while she's asking her question, if you have a question, make your way to the mic so we can get your question asked.
Hello and good afternoon, ladies. Thank you for sharing your insight and your experience. My question is especially when it comes to rom-coms, what's the recipe, what's the balance for making sure you don't lean too far into the comedy that it becomes like an unrealistic clown show, or, you know, too far out into the romance where it doesn't feel realistic? Where do you find the balance between, just even within the other genres that you all write in? Thank you.
Who wants to take it?
I'm not sure you're gonna like my answer. I'm really big, when I meet with people, I say write the story that you wanna write, as opposed to thinking about what somebody else may say when it comes to a certain genre. So if you have a story that has been inspired, that you have, write it. And then we can just, you know, revise it later. Like, don't worry about what the networks may say, just do your thing, and, yeah.
That's the best advice.
Yeah, and I think intuition too, right? When you read your work and you're like, follow that. You know, for me sometimes, like, I expand into, I love rom-coms, and I expand into fantasy, and sometimes I'm like, Emanie, they not talking too much, it's too much hunching going on, let's have a conversation. Or, you know, I feel intuitively that I'm leaning somewhere that it doesn't feel like it could be someone's reality. That is that gut check where I'm like, okay, well, where can I find the balance?
I 100% agree with both responses. You got to do what works for you. And as the author, as the creative, if you're looking to get that balance, that rom-com experience, is it making you laugh? Is it making you swoon? I think that's the original gut check. Write it the way you want it to be portrayed, and revise and revise and revise. And when you're good with it, send it out into the world. You can send it out in little video reels on TikTok or Instagram, and get that kind of in real time feedback too. Don't be afraid to do that. You know.
Kind of just add one little thing. Also, I'm not sure if you're a filmmaker, but if you're pitching to Hallmark, they definitely have a format. So I would say watch and study Hallmark movies. If you want to pitch to All Black, watch and study what All Black their format may be. But otherwise, just get out of your head and write the story.
That's true too, yeah.
Hi, my name is Chinganji, and I am writing my first novel, and it's a creative fiction piece, thank you, on my parents and how colorism affected them. So my question to you wonderful, wonderful authors, because I'm really enjoying this conversation, is how do you write about somebody that you don't like? I'm trying to, one of my chapters is going to be dedicated to my father's stepmother, and I call her stepmother as opposed to bonus mother because she really was a stepmother. But anyway, and she really hurt my dad, and so some of the things that he grew up, the pain that he grew up with, and some of the things that she did to my mom were very painful. They're painful for me to think about, but I feel like I have to include it. So that's my question. How do you write about somebody you don't like?
What I would like to offer to you is just humanizing them. Humanize them as a character, because you don't have to like every human, right?
True.
And I think for me, when I think about work that I've done that wasn't romantic and I had to dig deep, and I wrote a character that was inspired by someone who broke my heart, it's humanizing that character so my biases are not in the room. Now I'm just getting to the story, I'm getting to the dialogue, and I'm creating that arc as a human.
I would just add to that. First of all, that was beautiful.
I want to listen to her books.
Okay. I would just add to that, you know, this might not be fiction that you're talking about. This might be some real, you know, situations that happen. So one thing I would say, you do have to kind of be careful about what you put out there, but I also would approach it as if I was journaling and get all my feelings out about it on paper. Get it out of your head and get it onto the paper. You go back and reread it, and then you begin to analyze what is it about this person don't I like, you know? And it's not for you basically to tell other people not to like this person, but write the truth.
Right,
That's it.
yeah. Yeah, because your experience is your experience. Yeah.
Thank you both. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I hear a lot about happily ever afters up here. Have any of you ever explored what it would look like if your book didn't have a happily ever after, and
Oh, yeah.
what does that creativity, like creating that, look like for you?
Me personally, yes. Most of my books have an ending where that's just how it flowed. I don't know if at the end of the day if they're going to end up together or not, but one of my books, I'm not going to say the title because some of y'all got it. I ain't trying to tell the ending. But it is not like a happily ever after. It's actually going to be gut wrenching. It's gonna punch you in the gut a little bit. And the reason why I created this romance to be like that is because not every relationship in the real world ends good, or not everybody ends together. And I wanted to show more of give everybody that type of experience through these characters, through this story, and really connect with your own experience. Am I doing right by my partner? Am I saying all that I need to be saying? Am I fully aware of my shortcomings? So I do have like some lessons that you can learn from my characters, but that was the reason why I wrote that story that way, and I knew going into that story that I wanted those particular lessons to be learned. I didn't know how I was going to show it, but that was the main reason why I didn't have my characters in happily ever after.
For me, I think it's a little bit different with film, especially at the network level. If you're writing a Christmas movie, it generally has to be happily ever after. There are certain formats that you just have to like stay in a box in. Whereas independently, when I'm doing my own thing, I can do whatever I want, and that's a beautiful freedom. So with Bubbly Brown Sugar, like it ends on this like devastating cliffhanger, and so I can get back to the happily ever after. But I think I love being a creator because you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know.
It's fun. I keep saying it good, but it's fun.
Hi, ladies. Hi, everyone. I am actually done with my first novel. In the editing process. I am writing a second chance romance about a little bit about my life. Backstory is I am a single mom, and her dad walked out 13 years ago, and I'm picking up the story as if he came back. So definitely a totally different mood for this story. But my question is, how do you know how much sex needs to be in your book? It's a Black romance, obviously, and I've calculated about 3 or 4, but I don't know if it's enough. So,
Do you mean 3 to 4 scenes?
yes,
or
3 to 4
pages of
scenes.
sex?
Scenes.
Chapters.
Chapters. No, just
Right.
scenes.
I think you have to determine if you're writing erotica or if you're writing romance or what it is, because I mean, when we talk about genres and formulas, you know, there are genres and formulas for a reason. And also, what are they doing in those sex scenes? It all goes into the equation. I don't think there can be too much or too little. I think tell the story and tell the story completely, and then let the genre come out of how the story is told.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was saying.
I want to say, for me personally, if the sex scenes drive the story forward, for me, everything I think has to
That's good.
elevate the story and push it forward. For me, when I watch a show, I'm like, do we really have to see this right now? So just drive the story forward.
Yeah, because you don't want to alienate your readers either, and then they just put the book down because it's not realistic, or they just doing the most.
Yeah, and a lot of I know it's not a novel, but I'm transitioning into writing my first novel, but majority of my audio stories have sex in it. Like sometimes you turn it on, you're like, ooh, let me put my headphones on. But it's also, does this make sense? Like, how is this creating a connection? And also, sex scenes don't have to be full-blown sex.
Yes.
How can we sprinkle a little something to build up anticipation? I'm in a season of I love me a good slow burn, baby, like the candle. So even if you're like, okay, well, maybe I might have too many moments where there are actual sex, where can you still build that tension? If it's in accordance to the story, if it's building it forward, if it makes sense to you.
Can I add one more thing?
Sure. Y'all give us some great answers.
Listen, I recently read this book, and I write romance, but I don't always read romance. I like action, and I like other things. I was reading a book, I can't remember the author's name, but it was called Voodoo Season. And it was really a retelling of the Marie Laveau story and the Voodoo Queen in New Orleans. And a little bit of research I was doing. There was a scene in this book, it was not sex. It was literally the way she described how this young lady sat in her man's lap and his emotion around being able to hold her. It was the most erotic thing I feel like I have ever read. And there was not a body fluid swapped. So I just wanted to add to that intimacy is just as good and juicy as sex scenes sometimes.
Yeah.
So what was the name of the book?
Voodoo season.
Voodoo season. I remember all you had to do say it once. I remember. So I would just like to offer up advice when it comes to creating. Don't think about, does it sound right? Am I doing this right? You know, writing is an instrument. You're an artist at the end of the day, and how you begin to play that instrument or the type of stories that you choose to tell is going to be unique because it is you. So do not compare. Do not overcompensate. Just simply create and write, and you will get better over time. Like you can look at some of the world's best singers, and their voice gets better over time. So just write, and then have editors or people that just love reading, read your story and just give you feedback on the story overall. And then from there you can evolve and learn, rewrite or not, and keep going. But I wouldn't get so caught up in, as you're creating, does it sound right, and do I need to do this, and getting really technical in it. You're gonna mess up the story like that. It's the best stories are when you just freely just create. And so ladies, I'm gonna wrap it up with this one question. And so if you had to define your creative mission in one sentence, and we're gonna try to do one sentence because even I can't do that. But what would it be, and how has that mission evolved over time? So again, if you had to define your creative mission in one sentence, what would it be, and how has that mission evolved over time? She's like, well, what you gonna say so I can pick
Right. So I think my creative mission with my artistry has and will remain to be able to tell stories that, again, showcase Black love on an international stage, and that we deserve, Black women, Black men, Black queer, whomever, however you identify, our love stories deserve to be showcased on an international stage. We are here and we are excellent, and that's it.
Absolutely.
Sentence, to bring Black people back to love. Love as action, accountability, love as inspiration. And I mentioned this to the women in the back while we were waiting. How that has changed is understanding ancestry and generational wealth. So unfortunately, I buried my mom on last Friday. And my mother was a published author. And even as I was getting to Atlanta, I was like, God, I don't want to do this. But as Black people, we talk about generational trauma so much. Mm-hmm. But there's so much wealth outside of deeds and money and stocks. Mm-hmm. My mother was a writer and a poet. My grandmother was an English major. So for me, I am just continuing. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I may be oiling it up. I may be adding something to the GPS, but I recognize that the wealth that was passed through me is something that I have to do because that's legacy. So yeah.
I feel like we should be bedtime, girl. Girl, you can tell me bedtime stories any day.
And for me, it's simply to humanize us in the media. I believe that in the world right now, we're constantly, as Black and brown people, being dehumanized. And so my mission is to show that we deserve our happily ever after through these fairy tales that I write.
So this has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much, ladies, for opening up, being honest and vulnerable with us, sharing your own journeys, and offering up advice. If you feel like this has inspired or helped you, please share online. Get on Instagram, get on TikTok, get on Threads. We're not doing Twitter because we don't like that man. But get on all the other platforms and tell everybody about this experience. And I want you to support these ladies. Tamala has films out in books? Yes. In books, sorry. And Imani, you have just audiobooks or?
Yeah, so you can find my work at shadesofromancetales.com.
Okay.
And I have a poetry book, Thoughts from Venus, that you can get on Amazon.
Tell where everybody can find your films and where they can find you.
Blended Christmas is on BET, Bubbly Brown Sugars on Tubi, and I have a festival coming up in 2 months.
And Cher.
And you can find me on all the socials under Cher Taris. That's CHERTERAIS. I'm the only one that's gonna pop up.
I know that's right. Your name is very unique. And y'all can find me everywhere too. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so very much. We have our next panel starting here in just a moment. But some of these ladies will be hosting a meet and greet out here in the lobby. So please come out, get some books, take some pictures, and remember, get social with us. Thank y'all so very much. Continue to enjoy the festival.
Down in Atlanta where rhythm drums strong, riders unite after a whole year gone. Heritage and history blended so sweet, a family reunion beat by beat. Ink on the page, hearts in a dance, past meets the future at every chance. Creativity flows like a beat so true, a family reunion, this joy is for you. Good vibes all rise and change on the way. We celebrate each other, our spirits play. Black riders speaking minds and flow. Together